Hello, how you doing? I'm itching. Hey, I'm going to talk about this. I live poor, and you know what? I'm not even stressed out about it at all. I'm not even stressed because my goal is to save X amount of dollars every month. That's what my goal is. Oh, so in order to live like that, in order to save X amount of dollars every month, I have to live poor. Um, and I've lived that way for what since the 1980s. But at the time, my spouse was not in agreement with that. So guess what? After 25 years of marriage, we I was just as poor as when I started, before I started. So it's a bad thing when your spouse is not in agreement with you. That's a bad thing. So anyway, I've always lived poor. I've always chased coupons. I've always looked for sales, etc. Um, and I still look for coupons. I freeze food, and I'm trying to get into preserving food. Trying to get into that. Uh, so let me talk about hair and nails. I don't do nails because I know that if I spend $200 on some nails, that means I'm not saving $200. And so I would rather save $200 because you know that if you go to the hospital, the lady with the clipboard, she's gonna want anywhere between $250 and $500 just for looking at your butt. Okay, so no, I don't do the nails. If I want some fingernail polish, I usually go to Walgreens or CVS and get it when it's on sale. Okay, if I want a different color, I think that those false nails cause black women in particular to act like little girls. What do little girls act like? They're very demanding. I want this, I want that. They whine, cry, and blow snot until they get it. And you see black women acting like that. They blow snot, scream, holler, and blow snot when they go to the bank. They do it at the grocery stores. Even when they're being arrested, they holler, scream, and blow snot. Okay, and if you look at them, they got those long painted nails. You see the women on welfare with food stamps and subsidized housing. They got $200 nails. That's a rent payment right there. One girl on welfare says she hasn't paid any rent in years, but yet she has nothing saved, nothing at all saved. But she got the nails, so doesn't she? She has the nails and she has the wig. Okay. Um, 80% of the time I have put perms in my own hair. My hair is natural now, but 80% of the time I have put perms in my own hair when I before I had the perm. This is like the third time I've been natural. Um and whenever I wanted a particular haircut, I went to the hairdresser and got the haircut. Okay. But I think that comes from back in the day. Black women just didn't want to mess with their hair. They did not want to comb it and do all what's necessary to groom their hair. They didn't want to do that. Even my relatives back in the day, they would slap a wig and go on outside. And see, that comes from slavery too. Uh, the master and his mistress criticized our hair, and so we just covered it up. Okay. And so we just pass that down to generation after generation, covering up our hair. We don't. If you look at ancient African culture, they embrace their hair. I mean, if you just look at the pictures of the totally outrageous hair style in Africa, they embrace their hair. Um, but we don't embrace our hair. We just cut it and perm it and things like that. We put these wigs on that's made of plastic. So therefore our hair doesn't get any circulation, it doesn't get any sunshine because it's covered up with plastic. That's what those wigs are made of, plastic or rubber tires, okay? Um we don't like our hair. I mean, that's really the truth. We don't like our hair. And like I said, that's passed down from generation to generation. We definitely are teaching our daughters not to like our hair. Just put a wig on, put some braids in, and call it a day. Bye. Um, now, I have to admit that this month I didn't save anything because I wanted this particular appliance. I had to have the appliance. It was not like a frivolous appliance. I actually needed it. Okay. So look, but I get started again. I don't buy a ton of clothes. I buy what I need. If I want some pants, jeans, I buy it. If I want a sweatshirt, I buy it cheap. I know where the sales are. I go to the sales and try to buy it cheap. I already have a lot of clothes. I have a lot of clothes that I made from years ago. So no, I don't buy a ton of clothes. I don't like a lot of the way these clothes are made from Shine. It's just like a bunch of rags put together. They're not serged. I mean, if you are a sewer like I am, you're supposed to have a serger to serge the stitches. Okay, the stitches are not serged. It's just sloppy work. I remember this person bought her daughter a jacket, and the jacket didn't have any lining in it. Jacket cost over $100. Didn't have any lining in it. Now, if you're a sewer, you would know that all all coats and jackets have to have lining. Okay, but I didn't see that in the coat. Okay, it wasn't even worth $100, but that's what it cost because it was pretty. But I don't like the way a lot of these clothes are made. It's just like a lot of strings thrown together. And they're definitely not made for large women. These clothes are not made for large women. They just throw a bunch of strings together for large women. And large women wear that junk. But look, I live poor. And you know what? I'm at peace with that. I can go to any store, whether it's Sephora or whether it's Macy's, and I can look at stuff, but I know I don't have to buy it. I'm not going to buy it. I've been a minimalist for about 10 years. And that it is so freeing. I'm gonna tell you, I don't have any bondage over to anything because I know no matter what store I go into, I'm not gonna buy anything. It's a great way of life. What is bondage is when you have to shop every day or you have to shop every 2 days or whatever. Okay, that's what you call bondage when you're a shopaholic. But when you're a minimalist, you can go into any store, you can look at anything, any catalog or whatever, and you're not going to buy anything unless it is totally, totally necessary. But that's the way I live. I live poor. And frankly, that's the only way I know how to live. And in the meantime, I'm looking at real estate. And I want you to know there's still real estate under $2,000. There's still real estate under $1,000. There's still real estate out there. And you have to do your research. Um, like I said, I'm a minimalist. I think that's the only way to live. But see, the churches don't know. Like I said, in the meantime, I'm studying money. I've been studying money for better than 20 years. Okay. And churches need to study money. That's why churches are going bankrupt. I mean, how foolish is it to take people's tithes and offering for a pastor to put some cables on his body and just fly through the air? That's a foolish expenditure of money. I don't ask, I mean, the prosperity message is wrong that they would ask God for a gold-plated microwave oven, and God's supposed to give it to them. God knows that's a stupid expenditure of money, so He's not going to give you nothing. He's not going to give you that. He know a microwave oven do just fine. Doesn't have to be gold-plated. Okay, so look, that's the way I live. The only way I know how to live is, I mean, really think about the churches just going bankrupt. Why? Because they don't understand money. They don't understand the purpose of money. They don't understand the higher purpose of money. But I live poor, and it's a good way of life. Bye.